Dear colleagues, we continue our working day, and now the floor is given to the representative of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Good afternoon. Now the information about the events in the EDO area during the last 24 hours and about training. In Lugansk area, military actions were along the front line and even in the regions where enemy shellings are rare. The main hot spot was Krymsky village, where the occupants used 120mm mortars twice. The majority of shellings delivered by the enemy were in Popasnyansky region. Ukrainian forces returned fire at once. Moreover, the enemy violated ceasefire in Stanitsa Luganska region, in the region of Slavyano-Serbsk, and at Bakhmutska highway in Novatoshkivska village. The majority of these shellings were delivered during dark hours. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in Lugansk area, there were 9 enemy shellings, including 2 with the use of heavy weapons. The Donetsk area, as previously, in all key areas of confrontation, it was not calm. In the region of Lugansk, Zaitsevo, Mayorsk, Avdiivka, and also the enemy was active in the region of the Donetsk airport. Yesterday, they launched more than 60 mortar mines at our positions. The majority of shellings were during the light hours. And also, the hottest area is Avdiivka production area. There were 2 enemy shellings during the day and at night. The overall length, 4 hours. Ukrainian forces returned fire. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Donetsk area, there were 10 enemy shellings, including 4 with the use of heavy weapons. The Mariupol area, traditionally, there are a lot of enemy shellings. Lion's share is in the Pavlopil-Shirokina part of front line. So-called 9th Regiment of Russian occupation forces actively uses heavy weapons and launches tons of mines and shells at our positions. The heaviest shelling was in Granitna. It lasted for 35 minutes. And during this time, the occupants used simultaneously 82mm and 120mm mortars and artillery of 122mm of caliber. This was accompanied by sniper fire, and Ukrainian forces were forced to return fire. Also, 2 heavy mortar shellings delivered by the enemy happened in Krasnogorovka, and at other parts the enemy used small arms. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Mariupol area, there were 31 enemy shelling, including 10 with the use of heavy weapons. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, no Ukrainian serviceman was killed. 4 of our servicemen were wounded. According to information provided by the intelligence service at Izvarina checkpoint, from Russian side, they construct engineering barriers, and also along this part of front line of Russian-Ukraine border, there are Russian detachments deployed, and this is to prevent desertion in the ranks of Russian occupation forces. SBU detained a field engineer of the militants from so-called Cossack gang group. The offender confessed that he helped to subverters to mine the approaches to Ukrainian checkpoints, and also he confirmed the coordination and training is carried out by regular Russian forces, and it confirms that all the vertical of occupation contingent of in Donbas is controlled by Russian general staff. And also special services revealed a site administrator in Bakhmut. He was recruited in 2014, and he disseminated Russian propaganda through the media. In the course of search in his house, they seized computer equipment with evidence of his illegal activity. In Slavyansk, a former militant voluntarily handed himself into police. A resident of Slavyansk Luhansk for 2 years, was hiding and hid his past as DPR member. And in spring 2014, he supported the ideas of Russian world and he helped the militants. But he didn't take part in military actions. In course of active phase of 80 in Slavyansk, this man fled Donetchina and he was hiding from investigation. Then he didn't see prospects in his life, that's why he returned to his native town and voluntarily surrendered to police. After verification, he can get a chance to be released from criminal responsibility. In Marinka region of Donetsk Oblast, the police officers confiscated more than 200 shells. Near Bogoyavlenka village, they found a cache of ammunition with artillery shells, overall mass of which is 5 tons. And now investigation is on the way. And now the information about training. Yesterday in Ukraine, multinational training was started that is called Maple Arch 2016. And 200 servicemen take part in this training. They are from Ukraine, Canada, Poland, and Lithuania. The main aim of the training is to increase military capability and coordination of multinational forces. Ukraine is represented by 80th Detached Assault Brigade of paratroopers, and the majority of the servicemen have military experience in the east of Ukraine. Military training will last for 2 weeks. This is all information for now. Do you have questions or comments? Thank you, Colonel. Do you have questions? There are no questions. This is the end of press conference. Dear colleagues, next event is at 1 p.m.